Amazing audience, we are live at Venture X Galleria, Dallas, Texas. And we're live with Jake Melton. How are you doing?
Hey, good brother. How you doing?
I'm good. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Tell me, which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time?
Well, we connected on LinkedIn, so I guess you could say a talent is being on LinkedIn as frequent as I am, because we were able to meet.
Yeah.
But I recently came out with a book,
Yeah, sure.
Minimalize to Maximize Your Happiness,
Put this up
Cut the
here.
Crap.
Yeah.
And that might have been something that stood out to you, I'm not sure, but I'm here in the Dallas area and
Are you originally from here?
I'm not. I'm from
Okay.
LA,
Okay.
actually.
That is cool.
It is cool. Have you stopped there yet?
I
or you?
did,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up there and met my wife in Salt Lake City, Utah. Have you stopped there yet?
Another cool place.
Okay.
Beautiful.
We met there. We lived there 6 years, and we just moved to Dallas in November. So what is that? 9-10 months or so we've been
Wow,
here.
so you're a newbie.
A newbie here to.
Yeah, how was business, pal? How was
I
it?
love it.
Okay.
I love it. My wife, being from Utah, she misses the mountains and stuff, but she actually really likes it here too. So I think we'll be here for a while.
There are a few mountains coming down though, right? But not as much as Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So who did you learn that skill from? That skill of, it seems as though you're a lovable guy, right?
Aw. Just like you.
Who did you learn that from?
You know, being a lovable guy, you mean?
Yeah, well, choosing
It's
to be.
choosing to be.
Because you could choose
I
not
could.
to
I
be.
could choose to be. You know, I think a lot of it comes down to the way I was raised. My parents were very authentic. They were very inspiring, and they were very comforting and supporting. I think I was raised in a very loving home, and so that gave me that nourishment I needed to try and be a loving person. But I look at the challenges I've had in my own life, and though they were hard at certain times, they've helped me to better understand other people and what other people are going through. And so I've been able to build up that compassion throughout my life, and I think that's kept me from being, like you said, kind of on the where I could kind of be a
approachable. It's like, you
Right,
know,
right.
I could have a conversation with this guy. He's over there. It just feels you have a level of approachability.
oh well, thank you.
Yeah. Why will you continue to be that guy?
I just because it brings me close to people like you. Just because you haven't spent time with somebody before, you haven't necessarily met them, doesn't mean that you can't hit it off right off the bat. And I don't know. I'm always really invested in my relationships, especially the positive ones. Obviously, I try to cut the crap with negative ones, but building relationships like that's what I live for. And you can ask my wife. If a relationship is going well, I'm on a high. If relationships aren't going well, I'm on a low. But yeah, man.
That's good. Tell me a bit more about this, minimalize, because it must have been something you encountered to talk about minimalize to maximize your happiness.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I actually have, and part of what when I mentioned trials that I've had, part of one of the biggest trials I've had is I have Tourette syndrome. So I have motor tics, and in my life that's been very difficult to deal with physically, emotionally, worrying about how other people feel, watching me and the judgment. And with that, also I've experienced anxiety, I've experienced high-level stress, and when that's worse, my Tourette's get worse. And years ago, I came to a point where I've always been very good at minimalizing and clearing the clutter physically. I've never tried to own a lot of stuff. If I don't use things, it's easy for me to get rid of it. But I was finding a lot of mental clutter up here, and emotionally, I was in relationships that were bringing me down or holding me back, and it was hard for me to let go of some of those. And just the stress in my life was just beyond what I felt like I could handle. And so I looked deeper into minimalism, past the physical realm of what minimalism is and simplicity, and recognized that there was a way for me to apply that to everything that's going on up here. And once I decided to do that, my life changed completely. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, when I used to be stressed on an everyday basis, anywhere from a 7 to a 9, sometimes even to 10, I'm at the level now where I'm 2, 3, 4, maybe even less sometimes, because I understand that I need to cut out the things that aren't helping me become happier or progress. And I said, man, I got to share this with people because people need to hear this. This is just a way for them to be able to experience it too, that they may not think about on the normal basis,
That's great. So this is available on Amazon.
It is available on Amazon.
If I like how you speak, where can I connect with you?
Go visit my website. Or LinkedIn. But go to my website. It's jakebmelton.com, and you can go to LinkedIn as well at Jake Melton. LinkedIn/in/Jake Melton.
Love it.
And that's where I spend most of my time, man.
Melton.
Melton.
What's one other thing you've done consistently over the last 3 years?
3 years. I make time. This may not have anything to do with business or the book, but I make time for my family every single day. When I was working in the corporate world, it was obviously demanding, and I would get home later, and my kids would go to bed an hour after I got home. But for me, it was always about making that some special time where everything's turned off, my focus is on my kids, and I was able to be there as a dad and a husband, and that keeps me going. It makes me feel like that's my purpose. I have a purpose in sharing this message. I have a purpose in helping others, but my purpose in life for me is to be a good husband to my wife and a good dad to my kids.
That's great. Why would you continue to do that?
They are my inspiration every single day. I mean, I told my wife the other day, if I was making millions of dollars, I probably wouldn't be doing a ton of work. I would be spending all my time with them.
Yeah,
and that they are my core, they're my rock, and everything I do centers around how to make their lives happier and to improve and inspire their lives.
Why would you suggest to someone that's listening that they do that as well?
It helps you stick your ground, if that makes sense. If you think about your purpose in life, it may be to share a specific message, it may be to inspire, but think about why you're doing it and who you're doing it for. It's partly for yourself, but most of us have family or children or a spouse or a partner that we're doing all this for. So when you get into tough times or you get into days, there are some days I do feel like quitting. I'm not going to lie. Some days are hard. But then I look at them and I talk to them. And because I put in that time every single day, that's what rejuvenates me and helps me move forward.
That's good.
And break that wall down.
I love that. Talking about breaking down walls, let's switch gears for a moment.
Yeah.
Let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful warm blue Caribbean water. What is your earliest childhood memory?
Wow. That's a great question. I remember, just off the top of my head, I just remember being, when I was born, I have a sister 2 years younger than me. I remember us being little kids and us being in a small apartment, my dad getting ready to go to school for the day and then work. He was gone most of the time, just school and then work as he was finishing his degree, and my mom was home with us. I remember us having these little TV trays from the early 90s and listening to music and just being there, watching my dad get ready to go to school and work. That's like, if I could go back as far as I can, that's just one of the things I remember.
How old do you think you were in that memory?
Oh man, probably 3.
Why do you think that memory is so clear?
For me, I've always been very close to my parents, and my dad and I my dad passed away 4 years ago, and my whole life, when I think back to a lot of the things I've experienced, even before he passed away, a lot of my experiences revolved around my dad, and a lot of things I remember were around my dad. So I think I was always I loved watching him just do everything, and so as a kid I remember a lot of my time spent watching him, being around him, spending time with him.
That's
so
amazing.
maybe that's it. I don't really know.
How do you see it connecting to who you are today?
As far as I'll just tell you, as far as what I do, speaking and writing, it's all from him. So my dad was an amazing speaker. He was an amazing writer. He always wanted to write a book and publish a book, and never got the opportunity. And so for me, that was a motivation to do it for him. And he taught me all of these traits. I did acting growing up, and I played basketball. He taught me how to do all of that. And him passing away 4 years ago, it was right before my daughter was born, and that would have been the first grandchild. And so obviously it's been extremely difficult, but at the same time, he's in a place where I know he can be alongside of me, even though I may not see him, and help me through some of the things I'm going through today.
That's amazing. I love that. You found an interesting way to do the thing he couldn't do. Yeah?
Yeah.
I love that you did that.
I feel, and I actually dedicated this book to him, just because, like I said, he never had the opportunity, And I wish I could write a book in his name and put it out for him, but I feel like this is probably the best option besides that.
His last name was Melton as well.
It was,
right?
yeah. And yep.
Yeah, that's good. I love that. All right.
Yeah.
If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Oh, what was my favorite song when I was 12?
Yeah.
Man, that's a good question too. I like these though. These are different. I like these. When I was 12, I was in 6th grade.
Right. 6 or 7. Yeah.
6
just
or
around
7.
there,
And you can guess my age based off the years. So that was 2012 for me, or 2002, not
Okay.
2012.
I was
How old would I be?
wondering, yeah.
18. 2002. So that was when like the Now CDs were kind of popular. 7th grade was when I started getting really heavy into hip hop,
Right.
and R&B and rap. But in 6th grade, I think it was Blink 182.
Right. What song?
Oh man, if I could go, it was probably like All the Small Things.
All right. Yeah.
Man, I don't know. That's the best.
I love that pick though. That connects though.
Yeah. Does
Because
it?
in a minimalist life, it's
All the
that-
small things. Yeah, there you go. Didn't even think about that.
That is powerful. All right, well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form, yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Besides my kids,
Yeah.
no.
Are you married?
I am married,
You
yes.
have children?
I do. I have 2.
Wonderful. Do you believe in God?
Yes,
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I do.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yeah, probably more than 3 hours a week.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is
Oh,
it
boy.
More than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
More than 8 or less than 8? Oh man. Technically, it would probably be less than 8. Sometimes it feels like it's 8, but I don't know. Some days it may be more. Actually, I think it depends.
If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Jake B. Melton, what would you say that is?
Can I think about this for a
Sure.
second?
You could say pass if you want to as well.
That's just such a good question. It's so deep. I love it. There's a scripture I love, and it is where your treasure is, there will be your heart also.
Yeah, love it. It's powerful. Jake, this has been a great pleasure. Before
Yeah,
you
man.
leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Oh, how amazing you are!
Okay.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Don't you just watch him and keep listening to him. He does. It was funny because I was listening to some of your stuff, and you just have this voice that like.
And
just,
you have
it's-
this voice too.
Well, but
I'm
yours
like,
is so cool. I'm like,
his voice
man,
is
maybe
so
we should do a
amazing.
jazz radio station or something
Yeah, I
together.
have one
but
friend, he says, Angel, my apologies, but I just wanted you to know I listened to your podcast so I could go to sleep. He's like, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. I'm not sure if it brings value to you, but it's what I do.
That's
It's like, that's good. Use it however you want to, yeah?
Yeah.
That's good. Well, Jake, thank you for being on what is
Thank you.
inspired by 12-minute convos.
Oh, thank you for having me, man. Great to have you here.
Did
in
you have
Dallas.
fun?
Yeah,
High
of
five,
course,
man.
man.
Boom.